Welcome to English, Please, the podcast where we explore interesting topics in under 10 minutes in clear, intermediate English. I'm your host, Christopher. I live in New York City, and I've always been passionate about languages and how we learn them. Whether you're listening on your way to work or while cooking dinner at home, this show is designed to help you with your English listening and comprehension skills. Thanks so much for being here. Before we start, a quick note. I have a free newsletter, and I send it only when a new episode comes out. No spam ever. The link is in the show notes. Now, let's talk about something that confuses almost every person who visits the United States for the first time. And honestly, it confuses plenty of Americans too. Tipping. Imagine you're standing at the counter of a coffee shop here in New York. You pay for your coffee, and then a touch screen rotates toward you. It shows three options: 18%, 20%, 25%. The person behind the counter is watching. You have about 3 seconds to make a decision. If you know that feeling, a little awkward, a little stressful, and maybe a little ridiculous, then you already understand what we're talking about today. In this episode, we're going to talk about why tipping culture exists in the United States, how it got so out of control, and what you actually need to know if you visit or live here. I don't make these rules, but I can help you understand them. Tipping in the U.S. has an interesting history, and it's a little surprising. The idea of giving a small extra payment for service actually came from Europe in the 1800s. Wealthy Americans who traveled abroad saw it and brought it back home. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, restaurant and hotel owners realized something. If customers were expected to tip, the owners could pay workers less. And that's exactly what happened. Here's something important to understand about the United States. Each state can make its own laws about wages. So, in many states, workers who receive tips have a lower minimum wage than other workers. Minimum wage is the lowest amount an employer is legally allowed to pay. In some states, that minimum wage is only $2.13 an hour. The expectation is that tips will cover the rest. So, tipping in the United States isn't just about saying good job or thank you. It's part of how workers get paid. That's the key thing to understand, and it changes how the whole system feels. For a long time, tipping was fairly simple. You tipped your server at a restaurant, maybe your taxi driver, a hotel porter. 15% was standard, and that was it. Then came technology, and specifically the payment tablet. Suddenly, every business had a screen that asked you to tip. Coffee shops, bakeries, fast food counters, juice bars. The screen rotates toward you during a purchase, and there's a moment, about 3 seconds, when you must make a decision while the employee is watching you. And 15%? That's not even the starting option anymore. The buttons often begin at 18%, with 20 or 25 as the other choices. To tip nothing, you sometimes have to press a small button that says Custom Tip Amount or No Tip, which feels a little uncomfortable. Americans talk about this constantly. There's even a phrase for it: tip fatigue. That's the exhaustion of being asked to tip everywhere for everything. Quick pause. If you want to practice with real-life American English like this, the kind of language you'll actually use when you travel or work, I created something called the English Listening Accelerator. It's a workbook with 10 audio lessons covering everyday situations, ordering food, making small talk, shopping, and more. Each lesson has a transcript, vocabulary, and practice exercises, all at natural speed. You can download a free sample chapter at comullen.com/listen. That's comullen.com/listen. The link is also in the show notes. Okay, so what do you do about tipping? Here's a practical guide. At a sit-down restaurant, meaning a restaurant where a server comes to your table and takes care of you throughout the meal, tipping really isn't optional, it's expected. And 20% is now the standard. 18% is acceptable for average service, and more than 20% if the service was excellent. This is the situation where the tip really does matter for the server's income. At a counter or coffee shop where you order at the register and pick up your own drink, tipping is truly optional. Most people tip $1 or $2. Some people don't tip at all, and that's okay. Don't let the screen pressure you. For food delivery, whether by app or by telephone, 15 to 20% is typical, and the delivery person usually depends on it. For taxis and ride shares like Uber, 15% is common. The app will usually ask you after the ride. For hotel housekeeping, this one surprises many visitors. It's normal to leave a small amount each day, around $1 to $3 for the person who cleans your room. Most people leave it on the nightstand with a small note so it's clear the money is meant for them. So is tipping culture in the US a little strange? Yes, very. It's a strange system that is far from perfect, and most Americans would agree. There are real conversations happening here about whether restaurants should simply pay workers a fair wage and remove tipping. Some already have, but for now, the system is built around tipping. What I hope you take away is this. When an American server brings you the check and there's a blank line at the bottom, they aren't being greedy. They're counting on it. And now you know why. If you want more structured listening practice, the English Listening Accelerator is waiting for you at comullen.com/listen. And you can try a free sample before you decide anything. Again, I'm Christopher, and I want to invite you to join me in future episodes of English Please to hear about a variety of topics, all focused on helping you with your English. Sincere thanks, as always, for your support. See you soon!